Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna and I'm a little bit spooky, and today we're talking about some Patrick Ta products. That's right, we have the Cream Contour Bronzer Duo and the Cream Blush Duo. I don't know, I feel like these names are really long. I have struggled to get them out. So let's just go ahead and dive in to these products with a demo, and we're going to go over all the claims and we're going to give you my firm opinion and review of the products and if they are worth it or not. But before we get into all that, go ahead and like and subscribe and let me know down below in the comments, are there any Patrick Ta products that you are really excited about? Do you have any? Do you love any? Let me know how you feel about his products down below and let's have a conversation about it. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this review. Okay, let's just dive right in and talk about the Major Sculpt Cream Contour and Bronzer Duo from Patrick Ta. This retails for $38, which is a little hefty and comes in 3 color variants. I have the lightest one, which is called She's Statuesque, and it looks like a pale girl dream. When I saw this online and in some videos, people using it, I was like, ooh, that looks like a product that I need. And I gotta say, it's pretty dang nice. So let's go ahead and get into the claims of this product first before I give you my opinion on it and pop up a demo and some info about the product on the screen here. So according to the Sephora website, this is a modern way to sculpt the face. It is a cream and powder contouring duo, effortlessly shapes and defines for a beautifully dimensional look. Major Sculpt Cream Contour and Powder Duo is a luminous cream and powder duo in complementary shades. The lighter cream shade shapes and defines, while the talc-free powder finishes with a hint of warmth. One thing I would say is that I don't find this particularly luminous. I think that might be a little bit of a misleading term there. I guess it's luminous in the way that NARS describes their foundation as luminous, where it's not really luminous, it's just skin-like. It's that kind of way. Under the highlights on here, they describe it as a natural finish, which I think is a much more accurate description of the product. It doesn't have like a glow to it or anything like that, which luminous leads me to believe. It is actually more just a natural skin-like finish. It's not flat matte. It is a vague satin texture to this. It just isn't a flat matte product, and it's just very skin-like and replicates that natural kind of luminosity that the skin has. That to me makes the formula really unique, because most of these types of products I come across are usually just matte or radiant. There's never that kind of middle ground with the product, and this has a nice middle ground where it's just not super chalky matte, isn't glowy either. It's just that a truly skin-like type of finish to it, so it just looks like it's a part of your skin. It's not going to look like a mattified section on your face if you don't want to go in and like powder your entire face, because sometimes when you go in with a bronzer over like something more dewy, it can look matte, and this one, it just really looks like skin and just looks very natural, and I love that about it. And both the cream and powder formula kind of have that appearance on the skin where they're just truly skin-like. Like they're not as glowy as an Hourglass ambient lighting powder or anything like that, but they're not as matte as, say, like a traditional matte bronzer either. They're just somewhere in the middle, and it's a really nice compromise. Now I want to talk about the shade real quick. I was pretty pleasantly surprised by the shade of this. Looking at it in the pan, I thought it was going to be a much more cool toned taupey shade, similar to the Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Bronzer in Amber that I tend to use the most, which is a very taupey, shadowy color. But this actually has a bit more warmth in it, to where it is more of a, in comparison to anything that I have in my collection that I contour with, it's warm. But it's actually just probably more of a, I would say, a neutral, tad warm contour shade. And surprisingly, it works really well on my skin. I wasn't expecting that to look as good as it does, because when I first applied it, I was like, oh, that might be a little warm, a little orangey. But when I blended it out, it truly did mimic a nice shadow on my face without making me look gaunt or making a gray area or anything like that. It just looks very natural shadow. I've noticed sometimes I do run into that with the Fenty Cream Bronzer in Amber, is that it can come across a little gray sometimes depending on what products I pair with it and how I apply it. I have not had that issue with the Patrick Ta at all. There's no grayness in it. And I feel like the colors do actually mimic the colors that are in my skin. I'm a very kind of cool neutral undertone kind of gal. I have a lot of redness in my skin, but this one being warm, being that neutral warm, just somehow kind of balances things out and work. Another little thing that like I come across a lot of cream bronzers, if they aren't a little bit gray on me, which don't get me wrong, I don't mind that for certain looks. Like if I'm going more in a gothier direction with my vibe that day, or there's a time and place in my collection for those cool tone contours. And I mean, I've used the Fenty one every day just about, so it's not that I don't use that kind of shade. But another thing I come across with the cream contours a lot is that the lightest shades tend to pull very pink, which I don't find to be that flattering on myself, even though I have a pink undertone, because what happens is I just look like I have blush everywhere or like a pinky stripe, and I don't want that. So that's what I really do like about the tone of this cream contour in this, is that it has that neutral, just ever so slightly warmth to it, that it just works. And I was very pleasantly surprised by that, and I gotta admit, I really like it. The formula itself is so silky and beautiful. It blends like an absolute dream, like easy to blend. There's no stiffness to it. It's very emollient, but it kind of sets down to where it's not going to transfer really or smear everywhere. It kind of locks itself in place and stays put, but it gives you a lot of playtime to blend it and get it how you want. And I really appreciate that. So I'm really happy with the cream side of this. Moving on to the powder bronzer, also has that nice kind of satin, vaguely satin finish, very skin-like natural finish to it. The tone of this one's a little bit more yellowy in comparison to a lot of the bronzers that I have, which can pull a little orangey or pink. So I do actually really like that as well. I think it's a really pretty tone on my skin. It kind of gives me like a natural, how my skin looks when I get a little bit of a tan, which doesn't happen often, but I can get a slight tan, and that color kind of mimics that. The only reason I know that is because my arms will get a little tan. That's about it. And it's really nice for warming up the skin. It has a beautiful finish to it. It is a very graceful bronzer where you can take your fluffy brush, pop in there. You're not going to pick up too much product. It's not going to overwhelm your face, but it is very buildable. Same for the cream product. It is very buildable, and it has a nice kind of sheerness to it that you can just build up to the amount that you want and sculpt that you want. It gives you a lot of flexibility. That's what's really cool about this product, is the versatility of it and the kind of flexibility you have, where you can go full in, have a very sculpted, chiseled bronze look, or you can just use a light hand and have a nice little bit of definition, which is what I usually go for on the day-to-day basis. And when I'm going full glam, I like to go full glam and be sculpted, snatched, all the things. So yeah, this kind of fits the ticket for all that. And I think the formula on the powder side is, of course, it's very silky, it's beautiful, it's very firmly pressed, so it's not dusty, you don't get any kick up, your brush isn't coated in product. I don't feel like you have to go in and like really tap your brush off or anything, and you can just graze it right across the skin and have a beautiful hint of warmth to the face. And I think it's a really flattering color on myself. Seen a few girls around my skin tone think it's a little bit too warm, and I can see where they're coming from with that, but on myself I find it to be quite flattering and work really well, and I enjoy the shades within this duo. I would say $38 is a pretty hefty price point, but you're getting two products here in one kind of thing, which is really nice. The compact itself is very luxurious feeling. It's very kind of heavy, it's weighty, it's really nice quality, it's very shiny, which gets fingerprints everywhere, and it's a bitch to try to take a picture of. But that's just that's a blogger, YouTuber issue there. But yeah, the compact is very sturdy feeling. It has a very just luxury feel about it. It's an all-around very luxurious experience to use this product. It has a great mirror inside. It has a little window that protects the cream product underneath, so you don't get powder in it, and it kind of keeps it from getting dry or too stiff, which I really appreciate. The mirror is very nice, and it's a good size. You can see your full face in it, and you can actually do the contour bronzer just by using this little mirror, which is a lovely feature, especially if you are somebody who's kind of more on the go. All around, I think the $38 price point is pretty justified considering you're getting the two products, and the packaging itself is very luxe, and it's just a lovely experience all around to use. Like you feel like you're using something that's worth the nearly $40 price point. But don't worry, I have a dupe for the bronzer at the end. We'll get to that. I haven't quite duped the contour shade in this. I haven't come across a cream contour close to this in my collection personally, and I have a few cream contours floating around, and I haven't found one that really dupes this one. But I do have a bronzer dupe that I will mention a little later on in the video when we go over a few dupes. But otherwise, I think this is a lovely product. Is it something you need to go run out and buy at a almost $40 price point? No, you'll be all right. You'll survive without spending that much on it. But that being said, if you're looking for a lovely, luxurious experience, something that kind of feels special to use and is a very beautiful formula, you kind of can't go wrong with this. I think that's all going to come down really to personal preference, what kind of undertones you like in your sculpting products, and the amount of money you're willing to spend on said product. I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with this purchase. I kind of at first was a little, but then once I used it, I was like, oh, I do like it. Just on my initial, like just opening it up, I was kind of like, oh, I probably have something just like this in my collection, but no, I actually don't. All right, now let's talk about the blush duo. This is the Patrick Ta Major Headlines Double Take Cream and Powder Blush. I have it in the shade Do We Know Her, which is a peachy coral. This retails for $34, but remember you're getting the 2-in-1 product there, so I feel like that kind of justifies the price a little bit. I know it's kind of expensive, probably the most I've ever paid for a blush in my life, but again, it's a luxurious experience all around with the packaging and the whole format of it. You get the little window with the cream and then the powder separate. I think it's really nice. There's a nice imprint in the powder itself. And again, the formula is pretty damn amazing. So some of the claims about this product is a compact with 2 complementary blush formulas that give you full bold color guaranteed to turn heads. This contains a patented formula that mirrors skin's ceramide structure, ensuring adhesion, true color, and the most natural finish. Micronized pigments provide even flawless payoff, luminous finish, and extended wear. Creamy emollient base flawlessly blends into the skin, provides a dewy finish, and locks in color for extended wear. And there is a lot of ingredient callouts, which I will have on the screen, these which are the same for the bronzer and contour duo. It just wasn't written on the Sephora website, but it is on the Patrick Ta website for both products. This compact combines a pigmented weightless powder paired with a hydrating dewy cream designed to layer together for a bold dimensional look. So the blush duo is definitely more pigmented than the contour bronzer one. Actually packs quite a punch with the pigmentation, but it is a very smooth formula. There's no kick up in the pan. It's nice, firmly pressed. So it's a little bit surprising when you get so much color payoff from it, because it just doesn't seem like you're going to get that much color payoff, but you do. That might sneak up on you a little bit with the color, but to me that makes it all the more versatile to work across a multitude of skin tones and gives it that flexibility that multiple people can use this product and it work for them. I can just go with a lighter hand and it looks beautiful, or if I over apply, I can always take my beauty sponge and kind of tamp it down a little bit. It's not a big deal at all, and I think the formula is beautiful on the powder and the cream. The powder formula is quite similar to the bronzer formula. Is that kind of silky, it's a very silky skin-like finish. It's not a flat matte, but it's not glittery or glowy or anything like that, but it just has that very true skin-like finish to it. It's very lightweight, just a beautiful product all around, beautiful formula. Gotta give it to him on that. He knew what he was doing when he formulated these products. Moving over to the cream formula, it's a very lightweight, dewy finish cream that is not heavy, it's not greasy, it's not balmy. It almost looks like, almost feels like it sets to a powder on the skin, damn near. Not quite, but pretty damn close to where you don't feel any tackiness whatsoever on your face, but it still has like that luminosity that and beautiful like kind of reflect that skin naturally has, and it gives just this beautiful like skincare infused glow to the cheeks. Very unique in that respect, that it has that dewiness to it while not feeling dewy or sticky or anything like that. Like your hair's not going to get caught in it, nothing like that. You can't even tell it's on your face. Like it's just a lovely product, but it's not one that is greasy looking at all. It just has a very natural kind of like you just put on some good skincare kind of glow on your cheeks. I find the cream side to be quite pigmented as well, so again a very light hand with that if you are a fair girl like me. Otherwise I think it applied beautifully. What I think is interesting is that my natural instinct is to apply the cream first and then go in with the powder, just because that just seems right, but actually you do it the opposite. You go in with the powder and apply the cream over top, and that's what gives you that little bit of highlight and dew. Cream plays so well over powders. I have applied this over an entirely fully set down face and it looks beautiful. I've done it over a lightly powdered face. It forms just as beautifully. It's very, very beautiful, beautiful formula, very user-friendly formula. Just use a light hand when it comes to the pigmentation side of things, because they are beautifully pigmented, which I mean, I can't complain about that. I think that's great. Some days I like to go ham with that blush too, so Yeah. Now for the shades, there's some gorgeous shades in this range. Like I'm really, really drawn to the shade Oh She's Different. It is this beautiful deep berry, and I think it's so pretty. It's just so pretty, but it's not a color I know I'd reach for very often, so I didn't want to buy that one out the gate and, you know, not be something I use. That's why I went with the Do We Know Her, which is the Peachy Coral, because those are two shades that I know that I'm going to reach for the most and can use almost every day with just about any look that I wear. I'm a peachy blush kind of girl. Those are my type of shades, so that's why I went with that one. And yeah, there's a gorgeous like bronzy one and more of a rosy pink shade as well, and they look very vibrant and just beautiful. Like they're just beautiful to look at. So yeah, I do think there is a color story or a colorway within these blush duos for anybody. You're gonna find one you like, even though there's only 4. And I like that you can use them separately. The same with the bronzer contour. You can use them separate or together. There's so much flexibility with these products. That's why I think it's so cool. And they are user-friendly. There's just something very user-friendly about the contour bronzer that I don't think you could overdo it by accident. And it just has that lovely buildable texture that you can get it to the depth level that you want and the vibrancy that you want, rather. Now I know that the colorway that I picked, the Oh She's Different, isn't the most unique color combo on the market, so I do have a couple of pretty close dupes, which I'm going to show you in a minute, but I think the other shades are a little bit more unique. I just wanted to go with one that I knew that I would reach for the most and get my money's worth out of it, because it is $34. But yeah, I think the formula is beautiful on this. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you picked it up. Again, it's going to come down to that personal preference of what amount of money you're willing to spend on a blush duo. Do you like cream products, and do you like powder products? Is there a colorway that appeals to you? That's all going to be up to you, but I think the formula just based on that is beautiful, and that you wouldn't be disappointed with that aspect of the product. To me, I think it is, because again, like with the bronzer contour duo, it's a luxurious experience. It just feels kind of special to use. You feel a little fancy using it. I like that. And if I'm spending that much money on a product, I want to feel like I'm using a luxury product. I don't have any real complaints there. I was going in buying these products knowing the amount of money I was spending, and I do think they are worth the price, because I've seen some other products kind of similar on the market that don't feel nearly as luxurious, and they cost just as much or more. And it will just be like maybe just the cream product and not the nice duo. And that's what I think is really nice about this is that you have the 2 products in one type of thing, and gives you that versatility. The compacts are very weighty. They feel nice. They feel very substantial in your hand. They feel like they would hold up well with travel. Overall, I think they're great products, and that you wouldn't be disappointed in either one of them. It'll just come down to like your personal preferences and if you want the product or not. But formula wise, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I certainly am not disappointed in them. All right, now let's talk about some dupes real quick before we close this out. I don't have an actual dupe for the cream contour, because to me it is quite a unique shade to my collection. I don't have one that is that true like neutral, barely warm undertone. I either have like too warm or too pink or too cool tone gray in comparison to this. So that is something really unique to my collection, and I have not come across something that performs like it. And there is not a formula dupe, I don't think, in my collection either. The closest would be the bronzer from Fenty as far as formula goes. It's similar, but again, they're not exactly the same. Perhaps the lighter bronzer in this would be a closer dupe, I'm not sure. When it comes to the powder though, I think there's a pretty decent dupe here with the City Bronzer from Maybelline. This is the shade 200, it says here, but I don't think it is the shade 200. I think mine's mislabeled, honestly, because this is really light. So I don't think this is the shade 200. Now I will double check that when if I go to a store or something. I looked online, and when I look at the shade 100, to me it looks like this. So I honestly think my compact is mislabeled. This was the lightest one I saw in the lineup when I purchased this product. So that's what also leads me to believe this one was just mislabeled and says 200 when it should be, say, 100, because this is incredibly light. In swatch, they look almost identical, these two. I think the only difference will be that this one is a little bit more yellow undertoned in comparison to the Patrick Ta one. The formula is polar opposite, different. This is a matte bronzer. It's very powdery. You gotta really knock off your brush. It goes on a little heavy. you kind of gotta have a light hand with it. But if you're just looking for a true kind of color dupe, I think you wouldn't be able to tell the difference on the skin between these two. However, I just think there's something a little bit better about the formula of the Patrick Ta, obviously, but I hadn't tried the Patrick Ta one. I would think this is an amazing bronzer, so I still think the Maybelline one's a great option, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper. But in application, I don't think you're gonna tell much of a difference between the two color-wise. It comes down to just a variation in the formula, where one is really much more matte and dusty in comparison. There's a lot of kick up in the pan with the Maybelline one, whereas the Patrick Ta one is just very soft and very graceful on the skin and doesn't have that flat matte texture. Now, for the blush dupe, I have two from e.l.f., which, again, there's going to be some formula differences here, but the color is almost there. Pretty damn close. They're not perfect dupes, but I will have some swatches on the screen showing you in comparison how they look. And what I think in application on the face with a full makeup on, I don't think you're going to tell the difference that much. And I think they're fairly close dupes. You know, if you really like the colors in the Dewy Know Her Compact, I think you could, for the most part, replicate that with these two products. And it would look almost indistinguishable on the skin. I mean, it's a very slight variance in the color, and it is a formula difference when it comes to the cream product. Now, talking about the powder side of the duo, I think there's a really nice, pretty damn good dupe in the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in Always Cheeky. This is just a really nice peachy blush, and I would say the formula on this blush is absolutely beautiful on its own. It's not saying one's better than the other when it comes to the formula. It's just a different formula, whereas this one from e.l.f. is more matte, and you have that more skin-like appearance with the Patrick Ta one. That being said, the formula on the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blushes is absolutely amazing, and you would not be disappointed with that formula at all. And I do think this one is a pretty close match, especially in like the swatch and blending them out on the skin. They look pretty indistinguishable. If you're putting them right next to one another in swatches, you're going to see that little bit of difference, but otherwise, I think in application, you're not really going to notice that much. You can see that I think Always Cheeky is maybe just a little bit lighter and just a tad warmer, whereas this one has just a bit more coral in it, and this has just a bit more peach. But it's such a small difference that no one looking at you is going to know the difference. You know what I mean? The only reason I would really notice it is because I'm like paying attention and looking for those differences. Now, for the cream side, I have the e.l.f. Putty Blush in Turks and Caicos. Now, the main difference here is going to be the formula. The putty blushes are very, very matte and just, you know, like a putty formula. They have a powdery finish, so you're not going to get that dewy luminescence from this that you do get from the Patrick Ta cream blush, but the color is pretty damn close. Again, I think the e.l.f. one is maybe just a little bit lighter, a little less vibrant than the Patrick Ta one, but it's pretty much the same color. I think the Patrick Ta one is just a little more pigmented, and you can build it up and get a little more oomph out of it that you're not going to get out of Turks and Caicos. This shade blended out is virtually indistinguishable from this. The only difference will be the formula, and I think there is just a little bit more pink into this product than there is in this one. I think the e.l.f. ones just tend to be just a tad warmer and more matte. A couple of dupes there that I wanted to throw in. I was just looking in my collection because I was like, I feel like I have something similar to these. Let me dig around and see what I got. I don't have the most extensive collection, and I don't really talk about dupes very often. It's not really my thing because I don't have a huge collection, and I don't like buying repetitive products. But when I had gotten these in the mail and looked at them, I was like, did I just buy something I already have? And that's what made me go digging and look. But it turns out, I think the formula being what it is enough difference in the products to me to really make me appreciate them and like them. If the formula wasn't as good as it was, I would be a little less inclined to keep them. I possibly would have returned them. But because the formula is so damn good, I don't mind that I have some close matches in my blush collection, because honestly I have about 10 peach blushes that are virtually the same, so there's that. I need another peach blush like I need another hole in the head. It's just the thing. So yeah, overall I think these are beautiful products from Patrick Ta. I'm looking forward to seeing what else he comes out with. The eyeshadow palette looks actually really pretty. It's just not kind of something I'm excited about. I don't need another warm eyeshadow palette in my collection, but he does have some lip products that I'm interested in, and some just regular blushes without the cream. But I think the cream is what really makes these unique, because that cream formula is chef's kiss good. that is one of the best cream blushes I've ever used because it has that dewy look to it without being dewy or sticky on the skin. It's what I want cream blushes to be. Overall, I don't think you would be disappointed with either one of these products. As far as the quality goes and the formula, it is a beautiful formula all around. I love the skin-like finish that both have, and they just look like they belong on the skin, and it's gorgeous. And what really attracted me to these products was watching Patrick Ta apply them in videos. I love watching his videos. They're kind of something I watch before I go to bed. Anyways, I watch him apply them, and that's really what sold me on them. Now, there is a contour brush you can get to go with the Contour Bronzing Duo, which I'm kicking myself that I didn't pick up because I love the way that brush looks. So I might have to pick that up. I don't think you're going to be disappointed in the formula. It's all going to come down to your color preferences and what price point you're comfortable with spending, that kind of thing. Otherwise, great stuff, beautiful products, and yeah, that is all for today. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you'd like to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. I will have more reviews in a playlist linked in the eye, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye now.